What if the reason you're suffering isn't because someone left, but because you've given them a job they were never meant to have? The job of making you feel whole. Think about it. How many times have you waited for a message to feel okay? How many times has someone's attention made you feel valuable? And their silence made you question your worth? How many nights have you lost peace trying to hold on to someone who was slowly slipping away? The Buddha taught that the root of suffering is not losing people. It is becoming emotionally dependent on them. Because the moment your happiness depends on someone's presence, your peace is no longer yours. It belongs to them. But there comes a rare moment in life, a moment that changes everything. The moment you stop needing people to complete you. The moment you stop chasing approval. The moment you realize that what you were searching for in others was already within you. And when that realization finally reaches your heart, fear loses its power, attachment begins to fade, and a deep inner freedom starts to emerge. In this video, you'll discover 7 life-changing Buddhist lessons that reveal why the day you stop needing them is the day you finally find peace. The more you need people, the more power you give away. Most people think power is something outside of them. Money, status, fame, influence, authority. But one of the strongest forms of power is something far more invisible. It is the ability to affect another person's peace of mind. And the moment your happiness depends on someone else, you unknowingly hand that power to them. Most people never realize this is happening. It does not happen in a single day. It happens slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. At first, you simply enjoy someone's company. You enjoy their attention. You enjoy talking to them. There is nothing wrong with that. But over time, something changes. You begin needing what you once simply enjoyed, and that is where suffering begins. Suddenly, your mood depends on whether they call you, whether they text you, whether they notice you, whether they choose you. You wake up thinking about them. You go to sleep thinking about them. You check your phone hoping their name appears on the screen. A simple message makes you feel happy. A delayed reply makes you feel anxious. A short response makes you overthink. A cold tone ruins your entire day. Without realizing it, your emotions are no longer under your control. They are being controlled by someone else's actions. And this is how people slowly give away their peace. Many people spend years believing they are in love, when in reality they have become emotionally dependent. There is a huge difference. Love brings peace. Dependence creates fear. Love feels light. Dependence feels heavy. Love allows people to be free. Dependence constantly worries about losing them. This is why the Buddha taught that attachment becomes the root of suffering. Because attachment says, my happiness depends on this person staying. But life does not work that way. People change. Feelings change. Relationships change. Life changes. The person who talks to you every day today may not be there tomorrow. The person who understands you now may eventually walk a different path. This is not because people are bad. It is because change is part of life. Everything that comes eventually changes form. Everything that begins eventually ends. Yet most people build their emotional world on things that are constantly changing. Then they wonder why they feel unstable. Imagine building a house on sand. No matter how beautiful the house is, it will always be vulnerable. In the same way, when your peace depends on another person, your happiness becomes fragile. You constantly fear losing what you depend on, and fear quietly steals your joy. You become afraid of rejection, afraid of distance, afraid of silence, afraid of being forgotten, afraid of not being important enough. This fear follows you everywhere. even when things are going well, because deep down, you know that anything you depend on can be taken away. The truth is that people should add happiness to your life. They should not become the source of it. When someone becomes the source of your happiness, they also become the source of your suffering. The moment they change, your emotions change. The moment they leave, your world feels broken. The moment they disappoint you, your peace disappears. This is why so many people feel emotionally exhausted. They are carrying the impossible burden of trying to keep other people close so they can keep feeling okay. But peace was never supposed to come from another person. Peace comes from within. It comes from knowing that your value does not depend on who stays. Your worth does not depend on who chooses you. Your completeness does not depend on who loves you. The Buddha taught that true freedom begins when you stop looking outside yourself for what can only be found within. The strongest person is not someone who never loves. The strongest person is someone who can love deeply without losing themselves. Someone who can appreciate people without depending on them. Someone who can enjoy connection without becoming attached to it. Someone who can say, "I am grateful for your presence, but my peace does not belong to you." That is real strength. That is real freedom. And that is the day everything begins to change. Because the moment you stop needing people to complete you, you stop living in fear of losing them. And for the first time, your peace truly becomes your own. You are not missing them. You are missing who you were with them. One of the most painful experiences in life is missing someone who is no longer part of your life. Maybe they left. Maybe the relationship ended. Maybe they changed. Maybe they stopped caring. Or maybe life simply took both of you in different directions. Whatever the reason, their absence continues to live inside your mind. You think about them when you wake up. You think about them when you are alone. You think about them during quiet moments when there is nothing to distract you. And because the feeling is so strong, you become convinced that the person is the reason for your pain. You tell yourself, "I miss them. I need them. I cannot move on from them." But Buddhism invites us to look deeper, because sometimes what you miss is not the person. Sometimes what you miss is who you became when they were around. This is a truth many people never discover. When certain people enter our lives, they awaken feelings inside us. They make us feel special, important, valued, wanted, loved, safe. For a while, life feels lighter. The future feels brighter. Even ordinary days seem more meaningful. Then one day, the person leaves. But the feelings they awakened inside you leave with them. And now you are not only grieving their absence, you are grieving the loss of the version of yourself that existed around them. You miss the excitement. You miss the hope. You miss the feeling of being understood. You miss the feeling that someone cared. You miss the dreams you created together. You miss the future you imagined. Many people believe they are attached to a person, when in reality, they are attached to an experience. They are attached to a feeling. This is why, even after years have passed, someone can still live inside your mind. Not because they were perfect, not because they were your destiny, but because they became connected to a certain emotional state that you desperately want back. The mind is very clever. It often convinces us that the feeling can only return if the person returns. But this is an illusion. The peace you felt was not inside them. The happiness you felt was not inside them. The love you felt was not inside them. Those feelings were created inside you. They simply helped bring them to the surface. Think about that carefully. If someone could awaken joy inside you once, it means the joy already existed within you. If someone could awaken love inside you once, it means love already existed within you. If someone could make you feel alive, it means that aliveness was already part of your nature. They did not create those qualities, they revealed them. And what can be revealed once can be discovered again. This understanding changes everything. Because now your healing is no longer dependent on another person's return. You stop waiting for a message. You stop waiting for closure. You stop waiting for them to become the person they used to be. You stop putting your life on hold. Instead, you begin looking inward. You begin asking different questions. Not, how do I get them back? But, how do I reconnect with myself? Not, why did they leave? But, what part of me have I abandoned while focusing on them? This is where real healing begins. Most people spend years trying to recover a person. Very few spend time recovering themselves. Yet, the second path is the one that leads to freedom. The Buddha taught that suffering grows when we cling to what no longer exists. The relationship exists only in memory. The old conversations exist only in memory. The version of that person you keep replaying exists only in memory. And the more tightly you hold on to those memories, the more pain you create for yourself. This does not mean you must forget people. It does not mean you must stop caring. It simply means you must stop looking backward for a life that can only be lived forward. Because every moment spent wishing for the past is a moment stolen from the present. And the present is where your real life is waiting. The truth is that many people are not heartbroken because they lost someone. They are heartbroken because they lost the identity they built around that person. For so long, they defined themselves through the relationship, through the connection, through the role they played in another person's life. And when the relationship ended, they no longer knew who they were. This is why loss can feel so confusing. You are not only losing another person, you are losing a version of yourself. But perhaps that version was never meant to last forever. Perhaps life is asking you to discover a deeper version of yourself. A stronger version, a wiser version, a more peaceful version. One that does not depend on anyone else's presence to feel complete. One that does not need constant validation to feel worthy. One that understands that happiness is not something another person gives. It is something you cultivate within yourself. And when this realization finally sinks in, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing ghosts from the past. You stop worshipping old memories. You stop believing that one person holds the key to your happiness. You begin returning to yourself, slowly, patiently, one day at a time, and eventually you discover something beautiful. The person you were desperately searching for was never them. It was you, the stronger you, the wiser you, the more peaceful you. The version of yourself that existed long before they arrived and will continue to exist long after they are gone. And when you reconnect with that person, the grip of the past begins to loosen, because you finally understand that what you truly miss is not them. You miss the love, peace, hope, and aliveness you felt within yourself. And those things have never actually left. They have been waiting for you to come home to them. Chasing people always costs you your inner peace. One of the hardest truths to accept in life is this: the more you chase people, the further you move away from yourself. Most people do not realize how much of their suffering comes from chasing. They think they are simply trying to hold on to someone they love. They think they are fighting for a relationship. They think they are proving their loyalty. But deep down, they are doing something far more painful. They are sacrificing their own peace in an attempt to keep someone who is already slipping away. The Buddha taught that attachment creates suffering because attachment is often a refusal to accept reality. Reality says, this person has changed. Reality says, this chapter is ending. Reality says, not everything is meant to stay forever. But the attached mind says, no, I will hold on tighter. I will try harder. I will give more. I will sacrifice more. I will wait longer. I will chase until they choose me. And this is where suffering begins. Because the moment you start chasing someone, you stop living your own life. Your attention becomes trapped. Your energy becomes trapped. Your thoughts become trapped. Everything begins revolving around another person. You constantly wonder what they are doing, how they feel, why they changed, whether they miss you, whether they will come back, whether there is still hope. Slowly, your mind becomes a prison built around someone else's choices. And the saddest part is that many people remain inside this prison for years. They replay old conversations. They analyze old memories. They imagine different outcomes. They create endless stories in their heads. If I had said this, if I had done that, if I had tried harder, if I had been better. They spend so much time living in the past that they stop experiencing the present. Their life keeps moving forward, but their mind remains stuck behind. This is why chasing is so dangerous, because it steals your life one thought at a time. The strange thing about chasing is that it rarely brings people closer. In fact, it often pushes them further away. People can feel desperation. People can feel emotional pressure. People can feel when someone is trying too hard to hold on to them. And the more desperately you chase, the less free the relationship becomes. What began as love slowly turns into fear. What began as connection slowly turns into attachment. And attachment eventually becomes suffering. Many people believe that if they love someone enough, that person will stay. But life does not work that way. Love cannot force someone to choose you. Love cannot force someone to understand you. Love cannot force someone to value what they have. No amount of chasing can make another person become who they are not ready to become. This is one of the most painful lessons of adulthood. You cannot force love. You cannot force loyalty. You cannot force effort. You cannot force someone's heart. The more you try, the more exhausted you become. And yet millions of people spend years doing exactly that. They chase affection. They chase validation. They chase attention. They chase closure. They chase answers. They chase people who have already made their decision. Meanwhile, their own peace slowly disappears. The Buddha often spoke about craving. Craving is the feeling that says, I need this in order to be happy. I need this person. I need this outcome. I need this relationship. The problem with craving is that it places your happiness in the future. It tells you that peace will come later. Peace will come when they text you. Peace will come when they return. Peace will come when they choose you. Peace will come when they finally understand your value. But later never arrives, because once the mind becomes addicted to chasing, it always finds something else to pursue, something else to worry about, something else to fear losing, and so the cycle continues. This is why true freedom begins when you stop running. Not because you stop caring, not because your heart becomes cold, but because you finally understand that your peace is too valuable to be traded for someone's attention. There comes a moment in every healing journey when a person becomes tired. Not tired of loving, tired of suffering, tired of overthinking, tired of waiting, tired of hoping for people to become different, tired of carrying emotional weight that was never theirs to carry. And in that moment, something beautiful begins to happen. They stop chasing. They stop forcing. They stop begging life to give them what it has already removed. For the first time, they become still. And in that stillness, they discover something they could never find while running after people. They discover themselves. They discover forgotten dreams, forgotten passions, forgotten strengths, forgotten parts of their soul that had been neglected for years. Because the truth is that every hour spent chasing someone is an hour not spent building yourself. Every day spent obsessing over another person's choices is a day not spent improving your own life. Every moment spent waiting for someone to see your worth is a moment you could be learning your own worth. And this changes everything. Because once you truly know your value, chasing becomes unnecessary. You stop trying to convince people to stay. You stop trying to prove your importance. You stop trying to earn love through sacrifice. Instead, you begin living from a place of inner abundance. You understand that the right people do not need to be chased. The right people do not need to be convinced. The right people do not require you to abandon yourself just to keep them. They choose you freely. They appreciate you naturally. They meet your effort with effort, your care with care, your respect with respect. And if someone chooses to leave, you allow them to leave. Not because it does not hurt, but because your peace matters more than your attachment. This is one of the greatest forms of wisdom. The wisdom to stop running after what is running away from you. The wisdom to stop forcing what life is trying to release. The wisdom to stop chasing people and start returning to yourself. Because the day you stop chasing is the day you begin healing. The day you stop chasing is the day your mind becomes quieter. The day you stop chasing is the day your heart becomes lighter. And the day you stop chasing people is often the day you finally find the peace you have been searching for all along. The day you choose yourself, everything begins. To change, one of the saddest things about human beings is how easily they abandon themselves for the sake of other people. They sacrifice their peace to keep someone happy. They ignore their own needs to avoid disappointing others. They stay in relationships that drain them. They tolerate disrespect. They remain in situations that hurt them, not because they enjoy suffering, but because they are afraid. Afraid of being alone, afraid of being rejected, afraid of losing someone, afraid of what people might think. So they continue choosing everyone else, day after day, year after year, without realizing that every time they betray themselves to keep someone else, they lose a small piece of their inner peace. Many people spend their entire lives asking one question: who will choose me? Will they love me? Will they stay? Will they value me? Will they understand me? Will they finally see my worth? But very few people stop and ask a far more important question. Have I chosen myself? This is the question that changes everything. Because the truth is that many people are desperately waiting for love from others while withholding love from themselves. They are waiting for acceptance from others while rejecting themselves. They are waiting for someone to save them while abandoning themselves every single day. The Buddha taught that suffering often begins when we look outside ourselves for what can only be found within. And nowhere is this more visible than in the way people search for worth. They search for it in relationships, in approval, in attention, in validation, in other people's opinions. They spend years trying to become enough for someone else, while never realizing they were already enough. Imagine carrying a cup and asking everyone around you to fill it. One person pours a little, another pours a little. A third person takes some away. A fourth person ignores you completely. Your happiness rises and falls, depending on what other people put into your cup. This is how most people live. But choosing yourself means something different. It means realizing that your cup was never meant to be filled by others. It was always your responsibility. And when you finally understand this, your life begins to change. Not all at once, but slowly, powerfully. You begin setting boundaries. You stop saying yes when your heart wants to say no. You stop forcing yourself into places where you are not respected. You stop shrinking yourself so others can feel comfortable. You stop apologizing for your existence. You stop carrying responsibilities that belong to other people. For the first time, you begin treating yourself with the same kindness you give everyone else. And something remarkable happens. The guilt that once controlled you begins to fade. The fear that once controlled you begins to weaken. The need for approval begins to lose its power, because every time you choose yourself, you send a message to your mind. A message that says, I matter too. My peace matters too. My happiness matters too. My life matters too. Most people have spent so much time caring for others that they have forgotten how to care for themselves. They know how to support everyone, but they do not know how to support their own heart. They know how to listen to everyone's problems, but they never listen to themselves. They know how to forgive everyone else's mistakes, but they constantly punish themselves for their own. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give peace when you have none. You cannot offer love while neglecting your own soul. The world often teaches people that self-sacrifice is always noble. But Buddhism teaches balance. Compassion for others is important, but compassion for yourself is equally important. Without balance, kindness becomes exhaustion, love becomes suffering, generosity becomes resentment, and eventually you lose yourself completely. Many people wake up one day and realize they have spent years building their lives around everyone else's needs. They have become strangers to themselves. They no longer know what they truly want, what they truly enjoy, what brings them joy, what brings them peace. Their entire identity has become tied to taking care of everyone else. And deep down, they feel empty. Not because they lack people, but because they have lost themselves. This is why choosing yourself can feel uncomfortable at first. It feels unfamiliar. You may feel guilty. You may feel selfish. You may feel afraid, because for so long you have been trained to put yourself last. But that discomfort is temporary. The more you honor yourself, the stronger you become. The more you respect yourself, the calmer you become. The more you trust yourself, the freer you become. And eventually, you reach a point where something profound happens. You stop begging people to choose you, because you have already chosen yourself. You stop chasing validation, because your worth no longer depends on someone else's opinion. You stop settling for less than you deserve, because you finally understand your value. You stop fearing loneliness, because you have become comfortable in your own company. This is one of the greatest transformations a person can experience. The transformation from seeking yourself in others to finding yourself within. The Buddha understood that true peace is impossible without self-awareness. And self-awareness begins the moment you stop running after everyone else and start paying attention to your own life, your own mind, your own heart, your own path. The day you choose yourself is not the day you stop loving others. It is the day you stop abandoning yourself for them. It is the day you realize that your life deserves your attention too. Your healing deserves your attention too. Your peace deserves your attention too. And from that day forward, everything begins to change. Because when you finally choose yourself, you stop living as a stranger to your own soul. You come home to yourself. And there is no greater freedom than that. True freedom begins when you stop needing approval. There is an invisible prison that traps millions of people. Most never see it. Most never question it. Most spend their entire lives inside it. The prison is not made of walls. It is not made of iron bars. It is made of opinions. The opinions of other people. From a very young age, most people are taught to seek approval. They are praised when others are pleased with them. They are criticized when others are disappointed in them. Slowly, they begin building their identity around what other people think. They learn to adjust themselves, hide parts of themselves, change parts of themselves, pretend to be someone else, all for one reason: to be accepted, to be liked, to be approved of. And without realizing it, they become prisoners. Every decision becomes influenced by other people's opinions. Every choice becomes filtered through fear. What will people think? Will they approve? Will they judge me? Will they accept me? Will they reject me? This constant need for approval becomes exhausting. Because no matter how hard try, you can never control what others think of you. You can be kind and still be criticized. You can be honest and still be misunderstood. You can give your best and still disappoint someone. You can sacrifice everything and still not be enough for certain people. This is one of life's most difficult truths. You cannot control how others see you. The Buddha understood this deeply. Throughout history, even the wisest people have been judged. Even the kindest people have been criticized. Even the most compassionate people have been misunderstood. If people criticized the Buddha, they will criticize you. If people misunderstood enlightened beings, they will misunderstand you. This is simply the nature of the human mind. Everyone sees the world through their own experiences, their own wounds, their own fears, their own beliefs. This means that no matter who you are, someone will disagree with you. Someone will judge you. Someone will dislike you. And once you accept this reality, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop trying to please everyone. One of the biggest causes of suffering is people-pleasing. Many people spend years trying to become whatever others want them to be. Around one group, they wear one mask. Around another group, they wear a different mask. At work, they become one person. At home, another. With friends, another. With family, another. Eventually, they become so focused on managing other people's opinions that they forget who they really are. They lose their authenticity. They lose their voice. They lose themselves. The tragedy is that even after all that effort, approval never lasts. Someone who praises you today may criticize you tomorrow. Someone who admires you now may eventually judge you. Someone who supports you may later disagree with you. Approval is temporary, and anything temporary cannot become the foundation of lasting peace. This is why building your self-worth on other people's opinions is so dangerous. It makes your happiness fragile. If someone praises you, you feel valuable. If someone criticizes you, you feel worthless. If someone accepts you, you feel confident. If someone rejects you, you feel broken. Your emotional state becomes controlled by forces outside yourself. And that is not freedom, that is dependence. Many people think freedom means having no responsibilities. But Buddhism teaches a different kind of freedom. The freedom from needing everyone to agree with you. The freedom from needing everyone to understand you. The freedom from needing everyone to validate your existence. Because the truth is, most people are too busy dealing with their own lives to think about you as much as you imagine. Many of the judgments you fear never happen. Many of the opinions you worry about never matter. Many of the people you try so hard to impress are struggling with their own insecurities. Yet, countless people spend years sacrificing their happiness for the approval of strangers. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every day. Inside the backpack are the opinions of your family, your friends, your co-workers, your neighbors, your social circle, everyone's expectations, everyone's judgments, everyone's demands. After a while, the weight becomes unbearable. But the moment you stop needing approval, it feels as if the backpack finally falls from your shoulders. You can breathe again. You can think clearly again. You can live honestly again. For the first time, your choices come from your values instead of your fears. You stop asking, "What will people think?" and start asking, "What feels true to me?" You stop asking, "How can I make everyone happy?" and start asking, "What brings peace to my heart?" This shift changes everything, because approval is a moving target. No matter how much you receive, it is never enough. The mind always wants more. More validation, more praise, more attention, more recognition. It becomes an endless cycle. But self-respect is different. Self-respect is stable. Self-respect remains even when nobody applauds. Self-respect remains even when nobody notices. Self-respect remains even when nobody understands. And that is why self-respect is infinitely more valuable than approval. The Buddha taught that true peace comes from within. Not from applause, not from popularity, not from recognition, but from understanding your own worth. When you know your worth, you no longer need constant reassurance. When you know your worth, criticism loses its power. When you know your worth, rejection no longer destroys you, because your value is no longer determined by other people's opinions. It comes from something deeper, something unshakable. Many people spend their lives asking for permission to be themselves, permission to speak, permission to grow, permission to change, permission to follow their own path. But freedom begins the moment you stop asking. The moment you stop needing approval, you stop living for an audience. You stop performing, you stop pretending, you stop shrinking yourself to fit into places you have outgrown. You stop apologizing for being who you are, and slowly a deep sense of peace begins to emerge. Not because everyone approves of you, but because you no longer need them to. That is true freedom. The freedom to be yourself without fear. The freedom to walk your own path without constant validation. The freedom to trust your own heart. The freedom to live authentically. And once you experience that freedom, you realize something beautiful. The approval you spent years searching for outside yourself was never the answer. The acceptance you truly needed was your own. Because the day you stop needing approval is the day you stop living for other people. And the day you stop living for other people is the day your soul finally becomes free. Every person who leaves makes room for a deeper version of you. One of the most painful experiences in life is watching someone leave, whether it is a friend, a partner, a family member, or someone you deeply cared about. Loss has a way of shaking the foundations of your world. It can feel as if something important has been taken away from you. A part of your routine disappears. A part of your future disappears. A part of your identity disappears. And in the beginning, all you can see is the pain. All you can see is the empty space they left behind. The silence where conversations once existed. The absence where presence once existed. The memories that continue replaying inside your mind. Most people naturally focus on what they lost. They focus on the person, the relationship, the connection, the plans, the dreams, the future they imagined. And because their attention remains fixed on the loss, They fail to see something else happening beneath the surface. They fail to see the transformation that loss is quietly creating. The Buddha taught that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. But most people never discover this wisdom because they spend all their energy trying to return to what has already ended. They spend years looking backward, years wishing, years replaying, years hoping the past will somehow return. Meanwhile, life is trying to lead them somewhere new. One of the greatest truths about growth is that it almost always begins with loss. Very few people change when everything is comfortable. Very few people awaken when everything is easy. Comfort rarely transforms us. Pain does, loss does, heartbreak does, disappointment does. These experiences force us to look deeper. They force us to question ourselves. They force us to grow in ways we never would have chosen voluntarily. Think about the strongest people you know, the wisest people, the most peaceful people, the most self-aware people. Very rarely did they become that way because life was easy. Most became that way because life challenged them, because they lost something, because they suffered, because they were forced to discover strength they never knew existed. And perhaps that is why loss can become one of life's greatest teachers. Not because it feels good, but because it reveals things that comfort never could. When someone leaves, you begin seeing yourself more clearly. You begin noticing how much of your identity was attached to them, how much of your happiness depended on them, how much of your attention revolved around them. And this awareness becomes the beginning of freedom, because you cannot heal what you cannot see. Many people believe the greatest pain is losing someone, but often the greater pain is losing yourself while trying to keep them. Losing your peace, losing your confidence, losing your self-respect, losing your direction, losing your connection with yourself. Sometimes a person's departure exposes wounds that were already inside you long before they arrived. Wounds of insecurity, wounds of loneliness, wounds of abandonment, wounds of feeling unworthy. The person did not create those wounds. Their departure simply revealed them. And once revealed, healing can finally begin. This is why some losses become turning points. Not because the loss itself was beautiful, but because the growth that followed was. Many people spend years trying to fill every empty space immediately. The moment someone leaves, they search for another person, another distraction, another attachment, anything to avoid feeling the emptiness. But Buddhism teaches something different. It teaches us to sit with the emptiness, to observe it, to learn from it, to understand it. Because emptiness is not always a sign that something is missing. Sometimes emptiness is simply space, waiting to be filled with something better. A forest cannot grow if there is no space for new trees. A new chapter cannot begin if the old one never ends. A deeper version of yourself cannot emerge if the old version never breaks apart. This is why every departure creates an opportunity, not immediately, not overnight, but eventually. An opportunity to rebuild, an opportunity to rediscover yourself, an opportunity to become someone stronger than before. When people leave, you often find parts of yourself that were buried. You discover strengths you never knew you possessed. You discover resilience, patience, wisdom, self-awareness. You learn how to comfort yourself, how to stand alone, how to find peace without depending on another person's presence. And these lessons become priceless, because the person may leave, but the wisdom remains. The relationship may end, but the growth remains. The chapter may close, but the transformation remains. One day, you begin noticing that the person who suffered the loss is no longer the same person. You think differently. You see life differently. You understand yourself differently. The pain that once felt unbearable slowly becomes part of your wisdom. The wound becomes a teacher. The heartbreak becomes a lesson. The loss becomes a doorway. This is one of the most beautiful truths in Buddhism. Nothing leaves your life without teaching you something. Nothing ends without creating space for something else. Every departure removes one version of you and makes room for another. A deeper version, a wiser version, a calmer version, a more awakened version. And often, the version of you that emerges after the loss is far stronger than the version that existed before it. This is why some people eventually look back on their greatest heartbreaks with gratitude. Not because they enjoyed the pain, not because they wanted the suffering, but because they finally see what the experience gave them. It gave them strength. It gave them wisdom. It gave them self-respect. It gave them a relationship with themselves they never had before. And most importantly, it taught them that their happiness was never dependent on another person's presence. It taught them that they could survive, that they could heal, that they could grow, that they could become whole again, perhaps even more whole than before. So if someone has left your life, do not focus only on what was taken away. Look at what is being created. Look at what is being revealed. Look at who you are becoming. Because every person who leaves takes something with them, but they also leave something behind. A lesson, a truth, a deeper understanding of yourself. And if you are willing to learn from it, their departure may become one of the greatest gifts your life ever gives you. Because sometimes people leave not to destroy your path, but to clear it, to make room for the stronger, wiser, and more peaceful person you were always meant to become. And that person is worth finding. When you realize you are enough, no one can control your peace. There comes a moment in every person's journey when they face the deepest question of all. Not who loves them, not who stays, not who chooses them, but whether they believe they are enough. Most people spend years searching for this answer in other people. They search for it in relationships, in attention, in approval, in success, in admiration, in being wanted, in being needed. They quietly hope that one day someone will arrive and finally remove all their doubts. Someone who will make them feel complete. Someone who will make them feel worthy. Someone who will make them feel whole. But no matter how much love they receive, the emptiness eventually returns. Because the problem was never a lack of love from others. The problem was a lack of belief in themselves. This is one of the greatest illusions human beings carry. The illusion that another person can give them the value they cannot see within themselves. The Buddha understood that true freedom is impossible as long as your worth depends on external things. Because external things are unstable. People change, relationships change, circumstances change, the world changes. And if your self-worth is attached to things that constantly change, your peace will always be fragile. Imagine placing your happiness into someone else's hands. Every day you silently ask, do you still love me? Do you still choose me? Do I still matter to you? Am I still enough? Without realizing it, your entire emotional state becomes dependent on their answers. If they say yes, you feel secure. If they pull away, you feel anxious. If they leave, you feel broken. This is why so many people live in fear. Because they have allowed other people to become the judges of their value. And when someone else controls your value, they also control your peace. The moment someone can make you feel worthless, they have power over your inner world. The moment someone can determine whether you feel complete, they have power over your happiness. This is why so many people suffer after rejection. Not because rejection destroys their worth, but because it exposes how much of their worth they had placed in another person's hands. The truth is that rejection does not decrease your value. Abandonment does not decrease your value. Being misunderstood does not decrease your value. Being left behind does not decrease your value. Your value remains the same. The problem is that most people forget this. They begin measuring themselves through other people's actions. Someone leaves, and they think they are not enough. Someone chooses another person, and they think they are not enough. Someone loses interest, and they think they are not enough. But another person's choice is not a measurement of your worth. It is simply a reflection of their path, their preferences, their understanding, their limitations. Yet millions of people carry wounds for years because they confuse rejection with worthlessness. The Buddha taught that suffering begins when we identify ourselves with temporary conditions, when we believe our value depends on external events, when we allow the world to tell us who we are. True peace begins when this illusion falls apart, when you finally understand that your worth existed before anyone loved you, before anyone praised you, before anyone accepted you, before anyone chose you. You were worthy then, and you are worthy now. Many people spend years trying to become enough. Enough for their family, enough for their friends, enough for society, enough for one particular person. But the finish line never arrives, because the mind always finds another reason to feel incomplete, another reason to doubt itself, another reason to seek validation. This is why the search never ends, until one day something changes. You become tired. Not tired of life, not tired of people, tired of doubting yourself, tired of chasing approval, tired of seeking permission to feel valuable, tired of measuring your worth through the eyes of others. And in that moment, a new understanding begins to emerge. You begin realizing that you do not need to earn your worth. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to convince people of your worth. Your worth is already there. It always has been. It exists beneath the fear, beneath the insecurity, beneath the self-doubt, beneath every painful experience that made you question yourself. The sun does not stop shining because clouds appear. In the same way, your value does not disappear because life becomes difficult. It simply becomes hidden behind fear. When this realization finally reaches your heart, everything begins to change. You stop begging people to stay, because you know your happiness does not depend on them. You stop chasing validation, because you no longer need strangers to tell you who you are. You stop shrinking yourself, because you no longer fear taking up space. You stop tolerating disrespect, because you finally understand your value. You stop settling for relationships that constantly drain you, because you know peace is more valuable than attention. Most importantly, you stop living in fear of losing people, not because loss no longer hurts, but because you know you will still be whole even if they leave. This is true emotional freedom, the ability to love without becoming dependent, the ability to care without losing yourself, the ability to appreciate people without needing them to complete you. This is the wisdom that transforms a person's life, because once you know you are enough, something extraordinary happens. People can reject you without destroying you. People can criticize you without defining you. People can leave without taking your peace. People can misunderstand you without changing your truth. The storms of life still come, but they no longer control you, because your foundation has changed. It is no longer built on approval. It is no longer built on attachment. It is no longer built on fear. It is built on self-understanding, self-respect, inner peace, and the quiet knowledge that your worth does not rise and fall with the opinions of others. This is what the Buddha meant by inner freedom. Not escaping the world, not avoiding relationships, not becoming emotionally numb, but discovering a place within yourself that remains untouched by external circumstances. A place so deep that rejection cannot reach it, loss cannot reach it, judgment cannot reach it, fear cannot reach it, because it was never created by the world. And what the world did not create, the world cannot take away. The day you realize you are enough is the day everything changes. Because from that moment forward, you stop looking to others for what was already within you. You stop searching for your worth. You stop chasing your value. You stop begging for your completeness. And for the first time in your life, you stand firmly within yourself. Calm, whole, free, not because everyone stayed. Not because everyone understood you. Not because life became perfect. But because you finally discovered something greater than approval. You discovered your own worth. And when you truly know your worth, no one can control your peace. No one can take your freedom. And no one can make you forget who you are. So, what happens the day you stop needing people? You stop begging for attention. You stop chasing those who are determined to walk away. You stop measuring your worth through someone else's choices. You stop handing your peace to people who were never meant to carry it. And slowly, something beautiful begins to happen. The fear that once controlled you starts to disappear. The anxiety that once followed you everywhere starts to fade. The emptiness you spent years trying to fill begins to transform into inner peace, because you finally understand a truth that changes everything. You were never incomplete. You were never missing a piece of yourself. You were never broken. You simply forgot your own value. You forgot your own strength. You forgot that everything you were searching for in other people already existed within you. The love, the peace, the security, the freedom, the wholeness. It was always there, hidden beneath attachment, hidden beneath fear, hidden beneath the need for approval. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. The goal of life is not to stop loving people. The goal is to love without losing yourself, to care without becoming dependent, to connect without becoming attached, to appreciate people while remembering that your peace belongs to you. Because the strongest person is not the one who lives without people. Strongest person is the one who can enjoy people's presence without fearing their absence. The one who can love deeply without becoming imprisoned by attachment. The one who understands that true happiness is an inside job, and that is where real freedom begins. Not when everyone stays, not when everyone understands you, not when life finally goes your way, but when you realize that your peace was never supposed to depend on any of those things. It was always waiting within you. If this message spoke to your heart, take a moment right now and write in the comments, "I choose my peace." Let those 4 words be a promise to yourself, a promise that you will stop chasing what is not meant for you, a promise that you will stop seeking your worth in other people's approval, a promise that you will start choosing yourself, protecting your energy, and valuing your inner peace. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification so you never miss another journey into the wisdom of Buddhism, inner freedom, and personal transformation. Remember, the moment you stop needing people to complete you is the moment you finally become free, and from that day forward, everything changes.